Welcome back everybody to the channel. It's me, Alejandro Mendoza, or the Nerd Chicano. Either way how you say it, it's all good here. And we're back again for another review as we look at another film in my collection. And the film we're talking about today is a film that I picked up a long while ago during the Criterion Barnes & Noble sale in November 2021. And that is, of course, the Soviet film, The Cranes Are Flying, on Blu-ray from the Criterion Collection. Of course, I hope that this video finds you all well, happy, healthy, and in good spirits. I hope everyone is doing well. I hope that everybody is staying safe out there. And of course, I want to thank you all so much for the love on the videos. I really appreciate everything that you all do. Watching these videos, leaving likes on the videos, and subscribing to the channel. A reminder that at 400 subscribers, I am giving away a copy of La Strada from Federico Fellini. The single release from the Criterion Collection is the only single release you can get from the Fellini box set, other than the ones that were previously available like Satiricon and Roma. But if you want to get a copy of La Strada, make sure that you're subscribed to this channel. Click that notification bell so you don't miss a single piece of content that drops on the channel, and leave a like on this video. It would help out a lot. Plus, if you enjoy content like this and you want to lend an extra helping hand, go to my Patreon at patreon.com/thenerdchicano. Check out my exclusives like video essays and early access to videos just like this one you're watching right now. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and get into this review because I have been waiting for a while to watch this film. The Cranes Are Flying comes in at spine number 146 inside of the Criterion Collection. And we're going to go ahead and read this introduction, tell you all what's included in the Blu-ray, and then from there, we're going to go on to the review and all that wonderful stuff. Look at the packaging. You know how this rolls. The Cranes Are Flying. This landmark film by virtuosic Mikhail Kalatozov was heralded as a revelation in the post-Stalin Soviet Union and the international cinema community alike. It tells the story of Veronica, played by Tatiana Samoilova, and Boris, played by Alexei Butylov. Guys, I do not know how to pronounce Russian names. I don't know how to pronounce Russian words, so I'm going to butcher the hell out of this, and I'm really sorry to anybody who has a problem with that, but I'm trying my best. A couple who are blissfully in love until World War II tears them apart. With Boris at the front, Veronica must try to ward off spiritual numbness and defend herself from the increasingly forceful advances of her beau's draft-dodging cousin. Winner of the Palme d'Or at the 1958 Cannes Film Festival, The Cranes Are Flying is a superbly crafted drama with impassioned performances and viscerally emotional, gravity-defying cinematography by Kalatozov's regular collaborator, Sergei Urevsky. Included in this Blu-ray is a new 2K digital restoration with uncompressed monaural soundtrack, new interview with scholar Ian Christie on why the film is a landmark of Soviet cinema, audio interview from 1961 with director Mikhail Kalatozov, Hurricane Kalatozov, a documentary from 2009 on the Georgian director's complex relationship with the Soviet government, segment from a 2008 program about the film's cinematography featuring original storyboard, and an interview with actor Alexei Butylov. Interview from 2001 with filmmaker Claude Lelouch on the film's French premiere at the 1958 Cannes Film Festival, new English subtitles, plus an essay by critic Chris Fujiwara. Of course, this film is from 1957. It's an hour and 36 minutes long. It's in black and white. It has a monaural soundtrack. It's in Russian with English subtitles, and is presented in 1:37:1 aspect ratio. Now, let's go ahead and look at the packaging here. This is the front of The Cranes Are Flying. This is the back. This is the spine. Of course, remember, this is spine number 146. Plus, you just open up this armoire and you get a nice little pamphlet. And this is the front of the pamphlet. This is the back of the pamphlet. And you open it up, and I really like this olive green type of color for the inside of the pamphlet. It's the essay by Fujiwara, and of course in the back you have production notes, you have the transfer notes, and you have the cast and crew, the special thanks. And I'm gonna say that this looks pretty cool. But that's the little pamphlet you get with it. And then of course you get your Blu-ray disc that I'm removing at the moment. Here you go. Plus the back of this has some art. But that's it for the packaging of this edition of The Cranes Are Flying from the Criterion Collection. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the movie. As I said, I put this movie off for too long now. It was sitting on my shelf for almost 2 years now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm pretty sure that this movie is like 1.5 years or 1 year and like a couple of months that I haven't watched it. And it was just collecting dust. And I thought, okay, now that I do this content for you all, I'm going to go ahead and finally schedule this review so I can finally watch this movie for the first time. And I have to say, The Cranes Are Flying blew me away. This is 100% one of my favorite movies of all time, and I really fell in love with this beautiful story about love, about family, and ultimately about the perils of what war does to people. Not just in the battlefield, but what it does to a country, what it does to the people who live there, what it does to the work that they're doing, and just how much World War II really reshaped the way that people thought in Russia and the way that they approached day-to-day life. I mean, there's some heavy themes in here that are really discussed to a very interesting extent, where I didn't expect to really see a character that was a draft dodger, especially in a film from Soviet Russia, that really felt like it was conveying this message that wasn't really for the war and it really wasn't against the war. It was more so of showing what happens when things like this go down in history and how they really do change everything about the landscape that these people live in. I also fell in love with the cinematography of this film. I mean, it looks great, and the camera movements were just stellar. It was unlike anything I had ever seen before in my life. I've watched so much Soviet cinema now that I haven't ever seen a Kalatozov film, and when I finally watched this, I really did find myself gravitating to the incredible cinematography, especially in the lighting. There's this one scene where Veronica is going to be assaulted by the draft dodging cousin. I can't remember his name, but just an air raid is going in the background, and you're hearing all this sound design that's really good, but also the lights are flashing here and there, and there's like, you know, the hangers from the curtains are like creating this silhouette on their faces. It just was an incredible lighting structure that really brought out a very tense and scary moment within the movie. But overall, I mean, this movie is perfect. I fell in love with what was going on, with the story and the overarching theme about, you know, loving family and loving the people that you love, and sometimes all of that gets taken away from you because of the culture that you're living in and the wars that are brought on by the country that you live in as well. And I just was so amazed, and I can't believe that I put this movie off for so long, but it's perfect to me, and it is definitely one of the favorites of my collection, and undeniably one of my favorite movies of all time now that I've watched it. Now let's talk about the restoration. This is a 2K digital restoration that was done by Mosfilm, and it is available on Blu-ray in this edition from the Criterion Collection. I watched this film on my Panasonic 4K player on my TCL 4K TV, and I have to say that you can tell that they did a lot of work on this. There was a heavy amount of grain, and just like I talked about the Battle of Algiers a couple of weeks ago or last week, I'm not sure exactly when this comes out, but you can tell that there was a lot of work done on the film. This print probably was damaged, and there was probably hard work put into being able to make sure that a clean output was achieved. And honestly, I couldn't find anything wrong with this print. It looks great. Of course, I'm not going to get the most sharp film out of a film from 1957, but from what I could tell on my screen from a 2K digital restoration, The Cranes Are Flying looks really good. I like the contrast, the black and white levels really match well, and I especially really liked the amount of grain that we still had. Yes, it is a heavy amount, but it really does create this atmospheric approach to the film that really makes it feel like it's from 1957. Of course, like I always say, is that you don't want to take away these very special characteristics to a film and make it feel like it's new, but instead be able to present it with a new light, but still make it feel like a movie that came out during the time it was released. It's just a beautiful looking restoration, and I really like the way that it presented itself on my TV, and I couldn't find anything wrong with it. And I know that this is probably never going to get a 4K, more than likely, unless magically it happens, but I don't really see a movie like this getting a 4K release anytime soon. But in the meantime, I'm happy with this 2K digital restoration from the Criterion Collection, and I love the video component when it came to this film. Now, the audio is a mononeural soundtrack, and I didn't really have any problems with it, but like I always say to you all, I watch these films on my TV, and it's coming out of my TV speakers. So I'm not going to have the greatest sound system ever, but from what I was able to listen, everything sounds pretty good. Nothing is missing, there's no scratching, there's no hissing, there's no debris that sounds like it was popping on the audio track. It just sounds good. Now, I'm sure if I had an audio system, I would be able to hear things a little clearer, but from what I was able to gather from this audio soundtrack, the mononeural soundtrack sounds great. It doesn't sound terrible, and everything sounds leveled with each other. I really like the score, and I really like the way that it played within this audio restoration, so I was really satisfied with how leveled it was with the dialogue and the sound effects. You really can't ask for more. It's a good audio restoration, it's a really good video restoration, and it's all packed into this really great film from a director that I'm now really interested in, and I want to watch more of. I know that he has a couple more films in the Criterion Collection, so I'm going to go ahead and pick them up now on the next sale, possibly. But when it comes to The Cranes Are Flying from Mikhail Kalatozov, I was more than satisfied. This is one of my favorite movies of all time, and I would say that if you plan on picking this up during a Barnes & Noble's Criterion sale or a sale on Criterion.com, it is very much worth $20. Now, to keep up to date with me on all things social media, make sure you follow me at The Nerd Chicano on Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, Letterboxd, Serialized, and on TikTok. I'm the same handle on all of them. Follow me, and let's talk about movies, because I sure do want to talk about them with y'all. Keep up to date with The Nerdcore by visiting us at thenerdcore.com. Twitch and YouTube is under The Nerdcore. It's the same handle on both of those. You guys can't miss it. Come and check out the wonderful stuff that we're creating over there. Of course, next week we're going to look at another movie in my collection, and I'm finally getting around to a movie review that I owe you all. That is, of course, the review of War and Peace. I'm going to review it as a whole. We're going to have a pretty interesting discussion on it, and I'm sure that video is going to be long. But when it comes to this video, we're all done here, and I hope that you all enjoyed it. Tell me, do you have this copy of The Cranes Are Flying? What do you think about this movie? And which movie from Mikhail Kalatozov should I watch next? But in the meantime, to my wonderful cinephiles and renowned scholars, celebrate the love of cinema today, tomorrow, and every day after. Catch you all in the next one, guys. Bye-bye.